Yeah. Mhm. As you can see, I'm in like a weird place. I'm actually at my parents' house in Florida right now. The video is going to be like a little bit of an update on what's going on and what I found out. So if you guys don't really want to hear me just talk, I would highly recommend to go watch one of my other silly videos. Or if you guys don't know what happened before this video, go watch the video. I'll link it in below too, so you guys can go see that and catch up on what's going on. I guess I'll just start from the beginning. I went to a Golden Globes party on last Sunday. I went to a Golden Globes party with some of my girlfriends. I left the house at I think I left at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. I can't remember. It was around then. And I took my little Tinkerbell with me. You guys know my dogs. I know you've seen them in the vlogs before. I took the little one with me, and I left my other dog, Steve, at the house. And usually I'll crate them, but this time I was just like, oh, I'll just leave him out because usually he doesn't really do anything. Tinkerbell just gets into everything. But anyway, so I left him out, and I left, and I went to her house, and started to get kind of late, and I was calling, I was telling them I think I'm going to leave soon, and then all of a sudden, after Oprah's amazing speech, I got a phone call from my roommate, Lawrence, who just moved in a month ago, and he called me and he said, "Are you okay?" I was kind of confused. I was like, "Yeah? Why?" And he sounded kind of frantic, and he was like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm at my friend Kristen's house." And he's like, "Somebody broke into our house and took everything." He was freaking out. And I asked him, "Did you call the police?" He hadn't called the police yet. He had just walked in. And I'm like, "Hang up the phone, get out of the house, call the police, and call me back." So I immediately, I don't even know what was going through my head, but I just didn't, it was just I didn't know what to do. It was so, I wasn't there, so I couldn't see what the house looked like. So first of all, I'm thinking the worst, of course. So then Kristen, my best friend, I know you guys have also seen her in my other videos, she grabbed my keys and was like, "Let's go, I'm going to drive you over there." So we rushed out, and then when we got to the lobby, because she lives in, we were in the leasing center kind of thing of her apartment complex. We were leaving, and I immediately, my mind was like, oh my God, where's my dog? Because I knew he was in there. And when I first moved to Atlanta, I had my house broken into before, but it was kind of a different situation. He was an old roommate that snuck out so we wouldn't catch him and didn't pay us. It's a long story, but it wasn't as bad because he didn't take anything that wasn't his that was in the house. He left a couple things and he broke in to get that stuff back and just left the doors open with the dogs running around. And I immediately, that's what I pictured was the worst. I thought that either he had taken my dog, he had hurt him, or he had just left, he broke the door down and Steve ran out. So I wasn't really sure. I wasn't even crying. I was just hyperventilating. Literally, I was collapsing, oh my God, something happened to him. The security in her apartment came out and was like, "Are you okay?" She, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Someone broke into my house. I don't know where my dog is." And Kristen just grabbed my arm. She's like, "We're leaving." So she put me in my car and started driving back to the house. And finally, Lawrence called me back and was like, "He's fine. He's inside." And that was a minute of relief because that's all, really, that was my most precious possession in that house is my dog, of course. And if something happened to him, I just can't even imagine. So we got back to that house, and another thing I did right before actually I got to the house is, I don't know if you guys know about that neighborhood app. So everyone if you don't know what it is, everyone in the neighborhood has an app. It's neighborhood Nextdoor. It's called Nextdoor, and everyone in the neighborhood can see your posts if they have it. So I immediately posted my address and said there was just a break-in, everyone be careful. So I posted that up. So keep that in mind. So then we go in the house, I walk in, we're kind of both, actually Lawrence and Kristen were kind of freaked out to go in and look around in the house. For some reason, I think I just walked in the house and immediately went to my room because I was just so, like, I don't know, I was just so upset. I needed to see what was happening. For some reason, I didn't really think of if somebody was still in there. Stupid. So I just walked in the house. I saw Steve. I was like, thank God. And then I walked into the living room. Didn't look that bad. I had seen some stuff because I was the last one to leave the house that night. So I'd seen some stuff that I obviously hadn't left out and some weird things. But I went into my room and it was just trashed. There's no way to describe what I felt at that moment because I just don't think I felt anything. I don't think it hit me yet. It was more of like I walked into it, saw everything, knew I didn't obviously leave my room like that, looked around on the TV, on the wall. I had a huge flat screen that was gone. I looked at my bed. My brand new MacBook Air was gone. I looked over on the shelf. My MacBook Pro, my old computer that I was gonna sell, was gone. Of course, I looked around and saw a lot of other stuff missing. My Canon camera that I shoot my vlogs with. I do some of it with my iPhone, which is good, but I mean, I started to use my Canon camera a lot. I use it for my auditions, everything. So, if you guys watched the other video, I think I showed my room a little bit, but my dresser was torn apart. The bras and underwear I had in those drawers were just like everywhere. That was the main thing. So if you guys don't hide your stuff in there, because trust me, I've been through it now. That's where they're gonna look, is the dresser. He trashed it. He went in my closet. My bed, which is odd because it was made before I left, was unmade. It was like dirt all over it, like he was stepping on it. My bed was moved. I can go on and on about everything that he touched, but I went into my roommate's room. His room wasn't as trashed, but it was pretty bad. He had a lock on his dresser, and this guy ripped apart his dresser and like went in the kitchen. He took a knife, went into his room, and this is what we think. We don't know if this is what happened, but we think that he cut the dresser lock open or something, but it was like, or he's like super strong and just broke it. I don't know, but it was torn apart. That was probably the scariest part, was when we went into the bathroom and saw that the window was not there and that the window was like in the bathtub, like he had just set it in the bathtub, and then the knife was there, and it freaked both my roommate and I out because what was he doing with the knife? Was he doing that with the dresser? I don't know, but it was really scary to see that. The police, they took over an hour to get there. Over an hour. And I don't know how it all works. Maybe they prioritize the calls. I don't know. But what if he had come back in that time? I don't know. What if he was in there? There's a lot of things. And an hour is a long time. A lot of things can happen in an hour. So luckily, I actually know a police officer, and I called his cell phone, and he came right away. And then the police showed up, started looking around, and then at this time I got a message on that Nextdoor app from our neighbors across the street, and they said we're gonna look through our cameras right now and see if we have footage of him. Sure enough, they had footage of him, and I don't know if I would have been better not watching it, or if it was good that I watched it, but like even now, like I feel like I'm gonna cry because watching somebody, this man, break into my house almost immediately after I left means he was watching me. That is incredibly scary. To know that somebody was standing outside looking through my windows watching me, in a car across the street watching me, that's really scary. So the footage, it was pretty bad footage. I mean, because it was the cameras are for their house, not mine. But it showed him, I don't even know how he came into the house in the first. He came through the woods and like my backyard's like all fenced in, and then there's like a little bit of woods, and then there's my neighbors. I live in a pretty close neighborhood though, but he must have parked over on this street, walked around into the woods, and then broke it into our window. And you can hear my dog barking, which breaks my heart. He got in there, and you can see him. You can see somebody's clearly in the house. I left all the lights on, by the way. You can see him in there. And going through all my stuff, because you can see my bedroom through those windows. Just like creepy. And then you can see him going in the living room, which is even creepier because the living room wasn't that messed up. And my dog always sits in the living room when I leave on the couch where the heater is. I don't know what he was doing with my dog, if he was petting them. I'm sure my dog was barking, and what if he like would have hurt him? What if he like kicked? I don't know. I don't know. I feel terrible that I left him there and that happened. But so you can see him in the windows, and then you can see him, and he leaves through the window, and this guy has balls. Like, he climbed out of the window with my fucking 55-inch screen TV, and he walks through. He didn't go through the woods this time. He's like, nah, it's cool. I'm just gonna walk through the front yard and then the other neighbor's front yard. No one's gonna see. Why would anybody see? And it's crazy because my neighbors across the street had just came home. You hear them getting out of their cars and stuff. So he gets out, or he goes through the window with this huge screen TV with, I think he probably carried my roommate's TV too. I don't know. He carries it literally, like you can see him in the video, going around the corner with this flat screen. I wish my neighbors were looking out the window because I think they would have noticed at this time. But he walked over here, and there's like a road down here, and you can't see the rest, so I think he must have parked his car right there. Listen to this. He fucking comes back. He comes back. Not even through the woods where no one can see him. He comes back. He comes back and walks down my driveway for everyone to see. There he is, walking there. It just blows my mind. He goes back and around behind the house, gets back into the window, starts taking more shit. He was there for about 45 minutes to an hour. That's a long time. The police told me they thought that I knew him because of how long he was in there. Most of the time, they'll go in there, break in for like even just a couple minutes, and then be done. No, this guy was in my house for a long time. So then he goes back in, and he comes back out about 30 minutes later, whatever, and goes through the front yard once again for everyone to see. Listen, how many chances? This guy is so lucky. So he walks back down. This time he's carrying a pillowcase, my pillowcase, full of my stuff. And he walks out the other way. Yeah. It's pretty crazy that no one saw him. So the police are there, and he did something pretty dumb. I had 2 change jars, like, big ass change jars, and he grabs them and takes my roommate's North Face backpack and dumps the change into the backpack, and throws the jars, like he leaves the jars. Okay? He wasn't wearing gloves. The police picked up the glass jars, and there are his fingerprints right there. You can see them. So we're waiting on the fingerprints to come back, and trying to think of the other things. They fingerprinted a couple other things at my house as well, but he definitely wasn't wearing gloves. So stupid. That night, Kristen, she's such an amazing friend, she drove me back to her house, and my roommate Lawrence, and we stayed in her loft, which I'm still staying at, on an air mattress, which sucks, but at the same time, she's my best friend, and I love being around her. She's a very positive person. And so Lawrence and I have been looking for places. I think I found a place. I'm supposed to go have dinner with them on Tuesday and see how everybody gets along with me. It's one of those things that you don't think will ever happen. I didn't think this would happen to me. I didn't think somebody would break into my home around the homes that are way nicer than mine, but I guess now that I see it in a different way, why he would, because my house was old and didn't have any really security things. So I think if you don't have cameras and you don't have an alarm system, I think you should get one, because I now know how it feels, and I now know why people have those things in their house. There's a lot of people I babysit for, house sit for, and I'll walk in and they have cameras everywhere. Like, they have cameras in their living room, outside, they have these huge locks, and in my mind I've always been like, isn't that like a little much? But now I completely understand, and I think that we should have those. The first couple days after this happened were really difficult for me, and I appreciate everyone that reached out to me and made sure I was okay and said some nice things to me. I really appreciate it. I don't even know how to explain how it feels, but to know that it could be that easy to come into my home and break into it. What if I would have been home and he came in there and hurt me? I don't know, killed me. Like, it would have been that easy. I saw him on the cameras. I saw him walk right in there. That's scary. And I will never, ever, ever not have some sort of security anymore because of how scary this experience has been. Sorry. I felt very violated, and haven't been back to that house that many times, especially not alone. The first couple of days I would go in there and I would just start pacing and crying because it was so scary, and just because to look at all my things and be like, that stuff it's not mine anymore. He touched it and it feels gross, and it doesn't feel like mine, and it hurts to know that somebody could just do all those things when they see my mom and me as a baby. All my baby pictures are sitting there, like, and you still do all that. I don't know what kind of person would do that, but I hope that they get the help that they need, because they need help. At the end of the day, stuff is stuff. My life and my dog, my family, they're worth more than all of this. And yeah, it's been hard, and it's been more than just losing stuff. It's been a wake-up call. It's been feeling of loss. It's been this violated feeling all the time. I'm scared a lot. I'm getting better, but like the first couple days, it's like I was on edge all the time. I was like on high alert all the time. Like I felt like something bad was gonna happen to me all the time, and like looking over. It's been quite the experience. And I can't really talk about this other thing yet, but what I can say is that this whole thing has been a huge wake-up call for me, and I think I'm about to make a huge life decision, and I don't want to share it publicly yet, but this whole thing has definitely been I'm really glad that I was able to experience this and see it as a sign. So, promise I'll start vlogging again soon and making videos. Don't have a camera anymore, but I'm gonna push to get one. As soon as I get like in a house and little bit more stable financially after I pay some stuff to get into another house. But I do love you guys, and I do appreciate everything you've been saying. And the one thing that he didn't take is my Roomba. Haha. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope that you are all gonna have a wonderful rest of your week, because it's Monday and we're gonna kill this week, right? So, yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.